Klopp particularly, his reaction is basically let it slide, pretend it's not happening. Is that the kind of protection and support that a manager should be giving to their players?
Yeah, well said by Jurgen Klopp, a man who's never faced racism.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And when that happens to you, when you're in that position, it's like a helpless position to say, and people are constantly saying like, oh, just ignore it, be the bigger person. How? What does that do? How does that change anything? He made the comment of they don't deserve respect. It's not about giving them respect, but how do you change a situation if you're constantly trying to hide from it? You're constantly avoiding it, constantly saying, let's not talk about it. Let's punish them, but let's not talk about it. So I don't think it's necessarily when people bring it to the forefront, you're not giving them attention, but you're bringing a bigger issue to the forefront so it can be discussed, so actions can be taken to try to eliminate
in order to eradicate racism, you have to hit it head on. And in our society, whether it's football or not, people are scared to talk about race and talk about racism, and the racist people and the racist acts end up winning because we as a footballing culture allow it, because you have coaches and players and presidents of FIFA telling you, yeah, just walk away, it's fine. In what world is this okay? It's never been okay. It's a disgusting and despicable act, and it should be dealt with as such, not by remaining silent.
And then, I mean, you can even look at it from not a different perspective, but like when the people who are in charge, who have the authority to make changes, Sepp Blatter, for example, back in, I think it was 2011, when they asked him about racism in the game, he said, no, it's not an issue. He said that, there are instances where racial gestures or racial comments are made during a game, but as long as you shake hands at the end of the game, it's okay. What? Like, are you kidding me?
So what is it that a Jurgen Klopp doesn't understand from a player's perspective about how it makes you feel when there is such an incident and you're the subject of it? What is he missing?
I don't think it's even from a player's perspective, just from
a human perspective.
Human perspective, yeah, correct. Like until you walk in someone else's shoes, until you're subject to that actual abuse, until you hear that and you feel that helpless position because you're a public figure, and everyone looks at you like, oh, you know what? You should be the bigger person. You're an athlete. You should just walk away from it. Why? If I was on the street and someone said it to me, am I going to just walk away?
You've been subject to that on the pitch.
I have.
What did it make you feel?
Helpless. And that's exactly what I mean. Like, you feel like you want to respond because you deserve human rights, right? And someone on the street's not going to say that to me and I'm just going to walk away and turn a blind eye. But now because I'm on the pitch, because I'm an athlete, I have this responsibility that I should just ignore it. And I think for social media is another issue as well, because it gives people that platform to speak to anyone and just hide behind a keyboard, and one of the times when I was abused was on social media. And for, I think for a bit of time I did ignore it. I was just like passive about it, and I just would ignore it and keep it to myself. And then it got to a point where I finally was like, no, I'm gonna retweet this because people need to see this. People need to see that this is still occurring in our culture, that it is still an issue, that it does have an impact on players, that we are affected by it.
Nobody has a right to racially abuse another human being, football or not. And it's interesting about Sepp Blatter, because in 2012, Kevin Prince Boateng was racially abused when he was playing for AC Milan against the 4th Division Italian team. And it's interesting what Sepp Blatter said. Let me read my notes. He said, walk off? No, I don't think that's the solution. I don't think you can run away, because then the team should have to forfeit the match. So get this one. You're in your workplace. You get racially abused. And if you walk off, which is your right, really, to walk away, your team gets fined and forfeits the match.
It's almost as if he's giving them a platform, giving them a reason to continue doing it. you're punished for being white.
So Jurgen Klopp's reaction was punish them, but don't talk about it. What do you think is the correct approach?
Everything is highlighted in sports. So if we punish them, you will talk about it. It's impossible to separate the two, right? Like if you take a set of fans, and Chelsea suspended 4 fans, or if you play a match behind closed doors, do you think people aren't going to talk about it? Of course they're going to talk about it. So it's impossible to separate the two.